Yes, sir. It's the Up to Lock Show Print Factory. We got football tonight, baby. Monday Night Football here. We got Big T in the house, or should I say the 178K man in the house here. Big T, how those giblets feeling today? All those giblets that just I see you right now, but all I see is money falling down from your face right now. There's just money coming down, money symbols everywhere. When you talk, money symbols. I mean, it's just print season here at Rumpier Sports for Big T.
Are you done yet?
I mean, you interrupted.
We got another slate today. We're back at it. It's not what you did yesterday, JSU. It's what you do tonight. We got more winners to pick, and we got another Monday Night Football game. Hopefully, we got the Manning cast tonight. Someone in chat, I love the Manning cast. Is it tonight? Every other week, it's like they don't have it. Does anyone know if it's going tonight? Because I love that freaking show. So much Chili's for Big T. Yeah, I do like Chili's. Congrats. Thank you. Big T hates JSU always. Yeah. I mean,
that's not what your Twitter said. He tweeted "love you" to me, so I don't know about always because he tweeted "love you" to me. I saw that. I saw that in there. I tweeted him the old "go fuck off."
You did like the little screen grab of just the two guys with Algier getting more carries than I did like that.
So nothing. Big T will pretend like thank you guys, everything. The best part of Big T's fucking day in the last 24 hours was when he sent me a goddamn tweet of the snap share and the touches and the points for Bijan and Tyler Algier. Just made him so happy, even though Bijan was somehow on the Millie winner. I still don't even get it.
That's the funniest part. Because I was curious too. The running backs were just awful. Like the only running back that really did great was Rachaad White.
Hey, Josh Jacobs was good.
He was good, but he wasn't like mind blowing or something. He was good. I would rather had him than Kamara.
For 5,400. That's pretty good. But those were like the three guys, right? Tony,
he didn't have a fire sign, so he wasn't good enough for fire.
Ramondre did.
Oh, I thought I was talking about Jacob still. Yeah, Ramondre was good. You're right.
But you're right, though. Those were like two of the only plays that
I wasn't as tilted about Ramondre either, just because I wasn't going to play him. So I was more tilted like by how the run out of some of the running backs. But I was never playing Ramondre, so I couldn't be upset about him. At least not on my main team. I did have some Ramondre.
Bobby Boom, just stating facts in chat. So it is really funny though that like he was on the Millie Maker winner after all that, and he was on the fucking team that shipped.
And some of those, like, this is how good Utica is, and I mean, I'll admit it, he's the best. He's been the best, and like my team was so good yesterday. It won all the money, 170, 150K, whatever it was. And then he beat my team by like 25 points. Like, that's how good it is. And that's with Bijan.
That's just how good that dude's team was, though. That like
so good.
He just hit the complete nuts outside of Bijan, and just it didn't really matter, right, Tony? You could, because of his team, you could have had one bad play and it's still not.
I tried to nitpick too, and I'm like, how could I beat him? Because in all the Qs too, like I got second in 2 Qs to Utica too, and like because he's in everything. It's Utica, he's the best. So like he just edged me in all of them, and then a member beat me in the 3 max that he wasn't in. But I look, because you always do that. You're like, what could I have done to get ahead of him? And honestly, I don't think unless I played Stevenson, which I wouldn't have, I wasn't beating him. So that's when you just tip your cap and you're like, I won as much as I could. And I can't send him 200, Hank. I mean, a good chair is like $1,500. I would send him a good, solid chair. I can't give him his chair is like.
Guess what, people? Big T shipped. You know what that means? This chair's here to stay, baby. Because unless JSU ships, this chair is staying.
If you ship tonight, we get a new one. Is that on the record?
No. It's Big T season. All right, JSU's behind the. It's Big T season. Big T shipping. I think there's a 500K up top. Big T's winning today. I'm calling my shot right now. You called your shot yesterday. I'm calling my shot.
Oh, you're calling your shot that I win again?
Yeah, you're winning again today. 500 stack for my man Big T right here. and JSU's chair will stay in the house. But yeah, what are you gonna do, Tony, when Utica just runs that triple stack? You just know, like you just know you have the nuts,
and he had the Browns D who we liked. I could have been on the Browns D for sure, but I just wasn't getting all the way to
who would
there.
you have went to if you played the Browns D? Would have dropped off of somebody, and you don't.
It would have been a running back
is
is the thing, because the core on that team only left 2 spend up running backs in the defense. So the core I gave on the up to lock.
Who was your defense, Tony?
I literally was just a punty, like Tampa or something. They got me 9.
Like a cheap defense though, or was
cheap.
it like mid tier?
It was cheap. So it wasn't like that. If it was expensive, I would have played the Browns for sure, because this was a hand build team. So I built the team. I loved Kamara and Saquon, and I just played whatever defense fit. Yeah, I could have got off Kamara, but I love Kamara. I'm never going to be the type of guy that is like, if I got off Kamara, like I love Kamara, I'll be honest. He sucked. Like I liked him though. So I can't pretend like I would have got off him, because I mean, honestly, I love the stack I said on the show. It left me with my 2 favorite running backs, Kamara and Saquon, and then whatever defense fit. So like I can't complain about anything with that team. It got as much.
This is how rich Big T is. He can get the defense wrong and still.
It wasn't wrong. They
got
9. It just wasn't 23.
It just wasn't the Tampa Bay defense. It was the Rams.
Oh. It
That's
was
all right, dude.
You
won 178K.
Well, it would have never been Tampa Bay because I was in that game. I meant the Rams actually, because it was against the Packers.
That would have been the best thing ever, is if you shipped with Wiley's Most Hated. You stacked the game and played the defense that you stacked the game against with the quarterback, and you somehow won with like 16 from that defense after a shootout. That would be the ultimate shipper for sure. But yeah, Tony, you jumped on the Up to Lock show. You gave out the exact build pretty much, and I know it helped a bunch of members, including I'm sure our guy 101 who shipped for 150K. He said the morning wood helped too. I know there were a bunch of good calls on the morning wood. Our guy Wiley gave out Noah Brown at 3,100. Plays of the day were solid, right, Tony? CeeDee Lamb, Josh Jacobs, solid plays. Definitely, helped you. You could have won with those plays. Those were winning type plays. And
CeeDee Lamb was the reason I won too. Like, not the only reason, but so I had the game stack and then CD. CD was the play of the day, like you said. He was the reason, because I was doing really good, but going into the afternoon, I needed Saquon and CD, and Saquon did what he did, but CD just nuked. And the flowchart, some people were making fun of it. The flowchart was good again, 2 straight weeks. It's not going to be perfect, and people were killing me about Philadelphia. They didn't nuke that bad for their prices. I mean, what are people? Yeah, they beat Dallas. I mean, A.J. Brown got 19. That's fine. It wasn't bad.
There
was
no one on Philly you were pissed you didn't.
No, none.
No one.
And besides that, the flowchart was, I thought it was good. And it's just funny how people always find something to complain about with. CD was the number 1 matchup. He nuked. Stroud was an elite matchup. The tight ends were all elite. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. It's friggin' numbers. So I thought it was good again.
Listen. The flow chart's going to be a thing. Some people are going to hate on it, and then some people are going to use it, Tony.
More people like it than hate it for sure. I've got a lot of compliments about it. It's supposed to make your life easy, and it's not supposed to be the only thing you use. If you get to where you're like, should I play Jonathan Taylor or Devin Singletary as chalk? You go to the flow chart, you can't decide, pick whoever's got a better matchup. It's not supposed to be to build your whole team. Like, that's not what it's for. And you can still play it. Like, if you love a guy and they got a bad matchup, still play them. It's not saying to not do it, but if you're if you're 50,
Jeffrey says Mac Jones was my main beef about the chart.
It's all numbers.
You can't just go off of one play on the chart. You know what
and
I
mean? I'm not changing it based on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate Mac Jones, but he had the best matchup.
So, like, we hate Mac Jones. We've hated on the Patriots all year, but it was based off of matchups. If we start changing it, then it's
then it's just my thoughts.
Yeah,
I don't want.
You might as well just go look at your player pool based off of not the flow chart or something like that.
And honestly, Mac Jones, and this is going to sound crazy, but he was bad. He still got like 11, and he was 4,900. I cashed it. You look at my main team, my most volume of anything on the site. I had Mac Jones as a quarterback. I had Demario Douglas. I had that game. I cashed easy.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't play any Houston, and I cashed
that's what I mean.
Two of my main 3 teams with like most of my money behind those 3 teams. And I cashed 2 of 3, and I had 0 Houston or Tampa Bay. I had no White. I had no and I had none of those guys who smashed, and I still cashed with a Sam Howell stack, and I played friggin' Diami Brown on my main team. So like I still cashed with those guys, and I had Saquon, right, Tony? Like I still had like Saquon on my team, who wasn't great but was fine. But again, you find plays that you get behind, like, and you don't, just because like one game goes off, it's a big slate. Not everyone's going to have that game. That still doesn't mean you can't cash. You might not be able to ship. Like when Stroud scores 45. If you
didn't have Houston, you weren't shipping. That's a fact.
You weren't.
But you could still cash.
You could still cash, you know what I mean? And I had, CD in my core. I had Jahan Dotson caught a touchdown. He was in my core. Sam Howell did good for 5,800. He scored like 21. I don't know. Like, I think people just get it twisted. I know everyone wants to ship, but like, there can only be so many guys who come in first.
It's hard to ship.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to ship. But a bunch of members had big nights. I know Jacob Stubbs said he won 3K off the Morning Wood, watching the Morning Wood. I know Travis Bryant won 20K, one of our members. One won 100K. That 3-entry max 150. He was the one who came in first, edging you out. So, man, there was a lot of good screenshots in the Discord, Tony. People were happy. I don't know. Some people will complain, but that's just how it is.
It's just the life. It's just the life. More positive than negatives, though. That's all I can ask.
It definitely helps to be positive when you win 178K. I'll throw that out there. But you are very positive just in general, so I'll give you credit there.
The only time I get mad at anything is when they act like we're scamming people. It's a free tool that we have no guarantees, and it's very clear.
You don't have to look at it if you don't like it.
Don't look at it if you don't want to look at it.
Yeah. There's another 21K from one of our – I mean, like, yeah, people like I don't know. I thought we did a pretty good job kind of guys.
A lot of people do appreciate it too, so I like that. I mean, it should make your life easier. That's what we do at Run Pure anyways. Make your life easier. A lot of people work. They don't have time to do the research. If you pull a flowchart out and you also use projections, you're going to make decent teams. I promise you. Just play the projected guys that are good with the flowchart. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Look at this. Another one. Eddie, 26K. I mean.
Correct. And that's the best point ever. Listen to what everyone says. And this is what I do. Listen to what everyone says. Form your own opinion and go with it and live with it. Don't blame people when it goes wrong. And yeah, I mean, even when it goes right, don't give all the credit to anyone either. Be like, yeah, thanks for the help. I made my own decisions, both directions. It's like, that's just how it works.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you guys make your own line. You guys click the buttons. You guys click who you want in there. And do you use the show to help guide you? Do you use the core plays? Sure, why not? But like, you still choose to click them. You know what I mean? So that's the point behind it. And yeah, Tony, I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I like the flow chart. I think it's simple and easy, and I think it goes with what we do at Run Pure. We try to make it easier for you guys. You guys, maybe you're working, you got kids, you only got 10 minutes to pull the slate up. We try to make it as simple as possible. And that's what these shows are for. If you only get 1 hour a day to research and it's literally the hour up to lock, well, we hope you watch the show and maybe it helps. You know what I mean? Maybe it helps guide you in the right, path. You know what I mean? But that's the idea behind it. Simple, easy, and that's the flow chart right there. So, all right, enough blowing Tony. We got a football game to talk about here. Tony's right. We got a new slate. And Jets versus Chargers, Tony. I know it was 3.5 this morning. I think it moved to 3. Obviously, the Chargers are favored in New York, and it's about a 40.5 total, somewhere around there. So I know the totals dropped since it opened. It's down to 40.5. But what are you thinking from this game, just like from an overview standpoint? Are you on the Jets side? Are you on the Chargers side? Where are you at?
Yeah, I've been trying to decide that all day. I don't have a ton of conviction. In the past, I would always bet the Jets in this spot before the last couple of years, and I think I've gotten better at sports betting the last couple of years. I always used to just take the Jets in this spot. I kind of just feel like the Chargers are super underrated for once, where I don't feel like that what they've done so far this season has shown how good they are, which is a lot of the time with the Chargers anyways, I'll be honest. They always let us down. But in this spot against the Jets, I have to like the Chargers, I think. Only -3. It feels like the somewhat square side, but I'm okay with it tonight. I just think they're a better team. I like their players more. And I think we see some points too. So I like the over as well.
All right, cool. So at least we're on one of the two sides because I am on the Jet side. I bet them at 3.5, and I like the over too at 40.5. I think we see points. The Chargers and so one, I pulled up the Jets schedule, Tony, because I wanted to see. I just real quick remembering who they've played, who they've beaten, who they've lost to, and it's kind of interesting. Like, yeah, the Giants game was not the friendliest game to watch. Now, the rain was ridiculous in that game. It was just absolutely insane. But, they found a way to win this game. And this is my theme with the Jets where, yeah, have they been overmatched a few times where, like, the Cowboys just beat the shit out of them, right? They just absolutely got smacked by the Cowboys. But then you look at some of these other teams, Tony, and you start to say to yourself, okay, like, is this team actually that bad even without Aaron Rodgers? They lost to the Cowboys. That was a bad loss, but they lost, the Cowboys are a Super Bowl team in your mind, Tony, so you shouldn't take too much away from that. They beat the Bills. They lost to the Patriots divisional game. Okay, whatever. Chiefs 3-point game, and man, they had chances to win that game. They were in that game. The Broncos, they win by 10. The Eagles, they beat. The Giants, they beat. Man, I just rambled off some teams that should make the playoffs. Eagles, Bills, you would think, make the playoffs. Chiefs, close game in a primetime spot, should make the playoffs. That, I don't know, is this Jets team, Tony, like, are they almost underrated in a way? Because you said the Chargers are underrated. I think it's the other way where the Jets are kind of underrated. People just see Zach Wilson and they're like, this guy sucks, which I agree. But they just are in games. They just hang in games. They find ways to win, or stay in and have a chance to win close games. That's got to count for something here, especially when they play a team who constantly finds ways to lose games at the end.
Yeah, and you broke it down perfectly with that, where the Chargers have always blown games for basically my whole lifetime. And the Jets, I do think, are underrated. So, I mean, man, the issue for me is just always going to be Zach Wilson. Can he get the job done? I do think, again, not to reference back to the Flowchart, but I think it's a pretty good matchup for Zach Wilson. As long as they can protect him and keep him upright a little bit, which the Chargers don't have like the best pass rush in the world, but they do got some guys that can get there. And I don't know. I think we see points the more I think about it. The total feels so small. And so one of the interesting matchups for me too is I think the receivers from the Chargers, like Keenan Allen, mainly Keenan Allen just because of the price. The other guys are way cheaper. So Keenan Allen at 11.6 is close to a near fade for me, even though I like the Chargers. I'm going to have him plenty, but man, I like Eckler and Herbert way, way, way more. You got guys like Garrett Wilson, Zach Wilson, cheaper. You got 1,200,000 guys. And some of the reasons that I'll have a little Keenan Allen and not full fade is because of the $200 guys, that there's a lot of them. So even if Keenan Allen gets like, normally at this price, I think you would need 20 something at this price. But tonight, there's paths where he gets like 17 and he's in the winner just because of the 200 guys and the other guys in the game. But I mean, they're going to focus on him with guys out. Palmer's out, obviously. Mike Williams is out. They're going to focus even more on Keenan. And it's just a brutal matchup. So it's the worst matchup in football. Again, I'm not going to just keep referencing the Flowchart, but it's true. It's a terrible matchup against the Jets there. So it's just a pretty clear cut. But also he might end up somewhat lower owned because of that. So I'm just going to under project him and see what happens.
Yeah,
But
so that's good because he's one of the guys that I was fading in the captain and I was lower on compared to the rest of the studs. So I'm glad that you said that because I'm with you on Keenan. I'm going to be lower on him than the rest of the top tier guys, and I'll have none of him in the captain. And I'm not going to play quarterbacks either in the captain, so I won't have Justin Herbert or Zach Wilson, but I would have them.
I'll just say it. I'll say it always.
Say it.
Herbert's one of the guys me and you are always going to disagree on, and people like it on the show. I think he spreads it around so much, and he can run. I just want everyone that doesn't watch all our shows to understand the flip side of it. I think Herbert, and again, last night I faded Burrow in the captain, and I faded Allen in the captain even last night because I do think in general you guys are right, and I agree. Quarterback captain isn't great. Herbert is one of the guys though that I think for sure is a good captain, just because. I mean, he could legitimately throw 5 touchdowns to 5 different guys a lot of times, and he can run enough to get a rushing touchdown. So I think I don't think he's a great fade at the captain.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, well, if I was to play a quarterback in the captain, it would be him for sure. I'm just not going to play the quarterback, but I get your point that he's one of those quarterbacks that could easily spread it around, especially if like Keenan is blanketed and he just has to go to the rest of the field, right? Like if they do just really try and bracket Keenan or whatever, and they need to look, everywhere else but him. So I could see that. I'll just go first, Tony, and talk about like the top tier because Austin Eckler is definitely my favorite Charger in the captain. I just think he's the guy. I think he's going to be heavily targeted in the passing game. And when we look at Austin Eckler, that's where like the upside comes. It's obviously, if he gets in the box multiple times, that's big too. But when he has those like 6, 7, 8 catch games where he's getting 50, 60 yards receiving and stuff, he has that upside. And down 2 of their 3 best wide receivers, you would think that he is going to be a big time option for them, underneath in the pass catching game here. So I really like Austin Eckler from the Charger side. And then from the Jet side, and this is the guy I'm going to have the most of in the captain, but I think Garrett Wilson, I think this is a perfect matchup for Garrett Wilson to crush. And you look at what he's been getting from a target standpoint. And again, they've played some of these games in like big time rain. So like some of these games you got to take a little bit with a grain of salt, obviously. But Garrett Wilson has been getting peppered 13, 12, 7, 14, 9 targets his last 5 games. He's absolutely getting fed. And, eventually he's going to start getting in the box. I think it's a good matchup for him to get in the box against the Chargers, who can get beat in the secondary for sure. Like they can absolutely get torched. And I think Garrett Wilson does it today. So he's my favorite captain on the Jets side. I will have some Breece Hall as well in the captain because he's the other play I like at the top. So, for me, it's Wilson, Eckler, Breece. Tony are my stud captains at the top, and I rank them in that order. How do you see like the stud tier, like that top tier ranking out for you?
For sure, for me, Eckler 1, Herbert 2, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. 1 to 4 there. I like them all. I'm about to run my 150 right now and kind of see where the numbers are, but I see myself being pretty balanced on those guys. And then I'm definitely going to play a few cheaper captains tonight too. Quentin Johnston, I think, has to be in the mix. I think you could even go to, I wanted to see what it would do just if you did. I never do this, but if you did play a 200 guy, it gets you Eckler, both quarterbacks. I always think there's value to that, getting both quarterbacks. I don't need Keenan Allen is the issue. So the problem with going that low is you just don't really need it. So if you played Quentin Johnston captain, you still get everything with him. So you don't need to go lower than like that range of Quentin Johnston for captain. I wouldn't play any cheapies. You just don't need it. And
he's definitely my 4th captain. Like those are the 4 guys. He's definitely 4th for me. And I agree with you. You don't need to go any cheaper than him at the top spot. Like there's enough 200 guys where if the 200 guys like if yesterday happens to or last night happens, Tony, and then we'll get like a mid-tier probably captain or the stuff like, you know what I mean? Like if Drew Sample happens again, Tanner Hudson, where like one of these cheap guys gets you 12, like he's not going to hit probably in the captain, right, Tony? It's going to be like the flex play, and you'll get the mid-tier captain most likely.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty clear cut like that. And so another cheap guy too, just to talk. So last time I played Darius Davis, watched this game. I like Darius Davis again, but this Fehiko just was involved more. And hold on a second, let me pull up these prices. He was just involved more straight by the eyeball test. And let me pull up the snap counts. Fehiko 23%, Darius Davis 13%. So that kind of makes sense. And that was with Josh Palmer in there, though. So I think both of those guys are just really, really good plays to me tonight. Darius Davis and Fehiko. A lot of people are going to go to Quentin, which I love Quentin too. But those other guys are 200 and 600 on a slate where I for sure want some studs. So I like those cheapies a lot.
So did Jalen Guyton got activated too, right, Tony? So is he like officially in?
I don't see him anywhere. Is he?
Well, he's not in the pool of Draftkings, but
that's what it is then. I got you.
So, but the Chargers did activate him, I think.
So I think he's not on FanDuel either.
Let's look right now. I'm not. Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, I would like
finish building my FanDuel team.
He was decent in the past.
Yeah, he's like a go route guy, right, Tony? He's like
5K they say on FanDuel. So I definitely like Guyton on FanDuel at 5K. 1,000,000%.
Yes. He would take away from Fiaco a little bit, right? Like if he's in.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the good thing is though with these Chargers guys, they're all too cheap. So like it's not like you still need to guess it, right? But it's kind of like yesterday with those Bengals tight ends. You could say you had a strong take on one of them, but let's be honest, it could have been any of them. I mean, who scored the touchdown, blah, blah, blah. It could be very similar.
Tanner Hudson looked the best, and he's the one guy that didn't score. And he looked the best to me out of all of them. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's 100%. It's just whatever you do. Any rules you guys are considering tonight? That's from Drew. Tony, are there any rules? I don't really have many rules that I can think of off the top of my head that I'm like, oh, I need to, make sure I got both quarterbacks on my teams, or, I need to play one kicker or defense on all my teams. Like, do you have any rules like that?
I do not have any crazy rules tonight. It's a pretty standard game with me, honestly. I mean, you got a couple good running backs. I don't see any clear-cut rules. If I played Herbert captain, I would definitely want 2+ pass catchers, but this is not a rules slate for me.
You hear this, Tony? That's a confirmation. Prez is doing an NHL show from the office tomorrow.
Can't wait to hear first. NHL tomorrow.
I will wait. I will wait. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. But I hope you guys win. One of you guys win.
That's so soft.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be soft. It's hockey. I'm going to be soft for once and not do the hockey. But let's see here. Tony, any other viable captains we didn't talk about or discuss before we get into like the rest of like the cheat pool?
No, I'm going to have a good amount of just the studs. I mean, I'm looking at it. I just don't see it. Quentin Johnston would be the only maybe Everett, I guess I could put in that bucket, just in the mid-tier, but yeah, I need to see what the builds get as we run these things.
Yeah, I got my 4 captains, and that's it for me. So we already talked about them. For the number of uniques, someone's asking, Tony, 2, right? 2 uniques?
2 on a slate like this, for sure.
Yeah, 2. Let's see here. So, okay, you talked about some of the we talked about some of the cheap guys, Fiacco, Guyton on FanDuel. He's not on Draftkings, so you can't play him there. You also got a lot of cheap guys on the Jet side, Tony. 200 guys, right? Like Michael Carter, CJ Uzoma, Gibson, Malik Taylor. Like all these guys are 200. What are you doing with the Jet side cheapies? You know what I mean? Because there's no Randall Cobb. Lazard is active. He's going to play, but there's still spots where some of these $200 guys could kind of pop off, and we see something like we saw yesterday where maybe Uzoma catches a touchdown. You don't know. Maybe Michael Carter runs one in. Like, these guys are cheap. If that happens, I mean, that's going to help you kind of be a little unique and get to the winner circle, because there's too many of them, right, Tony? It's not like there's one or two where everyone's going to play the same one or two cheapies. There's like a lot of them.
There's a lot. There's more cheapies than I think I've ever seen on a Showdown slate that could end up in the winner. There's just, and like you said, Guyton's not even in the DK, so I wasn't even noticing him in the numbers. So just so many ways to go with it on this slate. I mean, you just look at some of these guys, and I don't know how you really separate them outside of the best comparison. I think is that this is just like yesterday's slate. It really is. There's a lot of cheapies, and then there's the studs. And I know I want the studs for sure, which naturally pushes the quarterbacks into the flex a little more. And it just really pushes you in a direction with the cheapies. You could even have two cheapies. I like one better though with that question. I always like one, but the way twos do get there is when Eckler scores 3 times and Breece Hall scores 3 times, and the quarterbacks still get their points. That's how the two scrubs get there, and that could easily happen tonight. So I am definitely okay with that.
Yeah, I can't see more than 2 though. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
You wouldn't need more than 2.
Yeah. So to answer that question, but yeah, I agree with you. Big T Faith captain for 20 max. You got like the top captain.
Eckler Tony would be my favorite. I mean, I don't build based on like other people would with the different spots. But
yeah, like single entry 20 max, your favorite captain's your favorite captain. Like, that's the first team you play. You know,
for sure, my favorite captains are Eckler, Herbert, and Garrett Wilson and Quentin Johnston. Those 4.
Yeah, and my 4 Wilson, Eckler, Breece, and Quentin Johnston. So, we've got close to the same 4. Big T, we need that core. You've been killing it. It's coming. It's coming. DC chilling. It's 8 o'clock.
Trying to find the exact build. I just got my player pool up though. Our percentages. If you go to Run Pure site, me and JBC have our full ownerships and our captains, everything up there. Our FanDuel cores, our DK cores, everything's up for me right now on the site. Except my DK core. We're 8:15 tonight, so we got 15 minutes left. Yep. I need to run a few more things here, but I'll have this DK up shortly.
Yep. And my DK core is up. I'm just getting done my FanDuel core, and then we'll be good to go here for the FanDuel slate. But any differences between FanDuel? We talked about Guyton. I want to make sure we get this in here. For me, top MVP on FanDuel would be Eckler. I just think he's like the touchdown upside. I think Eckler, if you're not going quarterback, Eckler and Breece, like if you're gonna fade like the quarterbacks in the MVP. But Tony, Zach Wilson at 12K on FanDuel, starting quarterback. We do not normally see a starting quarterback at 12K on FanDuel. That like sometimes we see like 14, 15K, right, Tony? And the other quarterback 16, 17. 12K though is really cheap. Like, Is that a plug-in play on FanDuel?
I wouldn't say it's a plug-and-play just because it's Zach Wilson.
I know,
but the price. I mean, his price is bad on FanDuel or on DK too. I mean, he's cheaper than all the other guys.
And problem is, Zach, I don't think people are going to play much Zach Wilson in the MVP. Like, that's for sure.
It's just tough because I mean, where's he going with the ball besides Garrett Wilson? That's an example of a quarterback I'd struggle to play because I feel like if he gets there, I just struggle to see him getting there without getting Garrett Wilson and these guys a screen pass to Brees.
I think it's to the tight ends, Tony. Like if he gets there, like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. This is a good matchup though for like these wide receivers on the Jets. Like, what if it's Gibson? Like Gibson's 5,500. There's cheap guys. Uzoma's 5,500. There are cheap guys you can pair with them. I know it's not likely, but I don't know. I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world. My favorite guy though is Eckler. I think in the MVP. Tony, you like Herbert? I would assume on FanDuel. You're just heavy Herbert.
Yeah, I mean Herbert and Eckler will be my on FanDuel for sure here. Yeah. Putting my core up right now. I finally got the exact build.
If you're not a member and you want to become one, use code NBA15. It'll get you 15% off your first month's payment, and you'll be able to check out Big T's core plays. That whole list, tournament player pool with him and JBC, just listing out their exposures, who they're playing and, around what exposure. You can check that out there. And then obviously you got the core plays, me, Fallick, Mangone, Rubio Dimes, Uncle T, Schneider, Glock, the whole crew, Kurt, everybody's up on the core plays here. AP, we got the cash core for everyone who's playing cash for this showdown slate, got the cash core. And then the full playbook, done by Rubio Dimes up on the site. Good read if you want to check it out. And make sure you get in the Discord too. If you do sign up, use that code NBA15. Get in the Discord. A lot of good stuff in there, talking sports all throughout the day, which, obviously as sports lovers, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this love all types of sports. We got everything in there. So every sport, one price, code NBA15, use it. Also hit the like button on the show. Got about 10 minutes to lock. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to look in the Discord right now. But if you guys got any questions,
who's your favorite? Who's your favorite cheapies?
Who's my favorite cheapies? So the guy I got Davis the most at 200. I got Gibson a decent amount. Xavier Gibson the second most, and then I'm with you on Fiacco. I'm wavering a little bit just because of the fact that they brought in Guyton, and I just wonder how much they're going to play. Like even if they split, Tony, right, and like they play Davis a decent amount, they run two tight ends a decent amount, like that could mean 20-30% of the snaps, or something. So I don't think they're the safest. Ghost Cat says Uzoma and Davis. On FanDuel, actually, yeah, I like Uzoma a decent amount on FanDuel, 5,500.
My favorite, the more I think about it, is I think Michael Carter. He can catch some dump offs. I like Michael Carter the best. I don't feel like he should be 200 because if he falls into the right script on top of it, especially if you're not playing like Brees and you think the Chargers win, I mean, for 200, he's gonna play a little, and all these receivers have a decent chance at zeros. I don't think he really ever gets a zero in a game like tonight. I think he's gonna.
If you think the Chargers win, you should definitely play some Michael Carter.
Yeah, I mean, you have to rank it. The way SaberSim and all these optimizers are going to work is you're just going to have to rank these cheapies because it's going to be the order it puts them in. And I think I want him to be – I just think he has to be the safest. I'll say that. Obviously, some of these guys could – and that Gibson, the dude in the chat's talking about, is a burner too.
Yeah, I like Gibson. This
is a fun slate because they're so creative you can get, and we like the studs. And so my 150 is still running, but I was trying to see kind of what numbers come up from
my FanDuel core's up too for anyone looking for that. It's up now.
Now all my stuff's up too on the site. So Trent says Big T, Dicker, Greg Z, Quentin Johnston. I like Quentin more, but the kickers are safer for sure. Uzama, you might have already read some of these. Uzama or Davis. 5-1s. I'm actually not removing 5-1s tonight because anything can happen with a Zach Wilson team. but I prefer 4-2s or 3-3s tonight. I agree with Snyder. Like Carter's getting 2 times the snaps. Cook is dead to me. Like if he's on the winner, I will not be winning. I promise you.
Carter's definitely a better play than Cook. I
just couldn't even imagine it.
Tony, were you reading in the live show chat, or were you reading?
I was just reading off the.
So YouTube, we got a few questions in the live show chat. Let me take a few of these. Do we need a rule?
That my 150 is not going to come out. The thing's crawling on me. Come on, Saber Sim.
Yeah, get it done here, Saber Sim. Do we need to run a rule?
I'll really test the heater with a 150 team train tonight. That'll
definitely test it. All right. So do we need a rule to have a QB with a wide receiver captain, Tony? So if it's a wide receiver captain build,
I don't set that rule because how I feel about Showdown, I feel sometimes rules, yes, it's a good rule in general, but what it does, it gets you out of some unique stuff where
it limits you, right, Tony?
And you're going to be sick when it would have been like a unique shipper if you did it, but because it's a good rule, let's be honest. And some of the why I've always done good at Showdown is you have to reverse think a little bit. And it's not always the most optimal get you there because you have to think about if this happens, how much can I win? And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to do that on purpose. I'm not going to I think you should play a quarterback with them. But if it just happens organically and your team just makes sense, which Saber Sim does a good job with these sims of kind of getting you in unique spots, I'm okay with it because we've seen solo ships where it's like Keenan Allen tonight without Herbert or something. Where
again, though, he could get 10 balls in 130 yards. Maybe he doesn't even get in the end zone. Maybe the game ends, 15-10. And there's not many touchdowns. There's maybe 1 or 2 in the game, and Keenan Allen gets the 1, and he's on the winner, right, Tony? But the quarterback doesn't make it on the winner because the running backs out volume the quarterback. You don't know. I don't know. Who knows? So, maybe it's a trick play, and Keenan Allen does a reverse for a touchdown, and then the quarterback doesn't get it. So there's ways where you can get it. So I'm with you. I wouldn't make that rule because Tony made the best point. You almost got to reverse think with the main slates and how you normally build that to Showdown.
We could ask Redmond too, who's crushed all year. Some of the times it's better, and what I like about just let Saber Sim do it or whatever optimizer and just trust it. I used to do way more rules and stuff. I've honestly started to do better since I just stopped worrying about that stuff. Pop it in, and sometimes there is rules you have to put in, at least for me. But other slates like tonight, I don't even see a thing that would be close to a rule for me. Outside of I can't even think of one. Outside of maybe I don't have one. So Josh Kelly 2 TDs incoming would definitely own me a little. I might not get my teams in. This thing is not scooting for me here.
All right, well, you focus on that for a second.
There's nothing to focus. It's running.
Well,
no matter if it finishes.
You got to be quick. You got to be quick with it when it happens. You got to be quick. FanDuel, Zach Wilson and Greg Zuerlein, or Garrett Wilson and Quentin. I'm going to go the Garrett Wilson Quentin side, but let's see, Garrett Wilson and Michael Carter, or Everett and Greg the Leg. I'm going Garrett Wilson, Michael Carter. Any first touchdown or single game parlays? All right, Tony, I got to go in. I did bet some of these, so let me go see. I forget real quick what I did. So I know I bet for first touchdown, I bet Quentin Johnston for first touchdown. I think it was plus or 17-1. I think Garrett Wilson was 11-1. I know I bet those for first touchdown. I just want to see if there was any if there was a single game parlay I did. Tony, did you have anything like a single game parlay or anything like that? Props or anything?
I didn't have anything tonight like that I loved.
So, okay, I did bet this. I sprinkled Quentin Johnston 2 touchdown game. It was 37-1. I sprinkled that, and I sprinkled the same thing for Garrett Wilson, 2 touchdown games. So I sprinkled those in just for fun. Let's see, though. Is there any deep pulls, Tony, for first touchdown bat? Like anyone deep that you could think of to get like a first touchdown, like super long odds?
I like the Quentin. I like these receivers.
Let's see what they are. I'm going to check right now for you because I know you're running that thing.
Not the greatest right here at the moment for me.
All right, so first touchdown, we've got Gibson at 31-1, Davis at 33-1, Guyton at 28-1. Any of those, Tony? Any of those you could take shots on there?
Guyton, I don't mind Guyton at that price.
Not your boy Davis, 33-1.
He could house he does return kicks too, so I mean I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean it's not crazy. You said Gibson's a burner, maybe he could house one. So those would be like the super long ones, but yeah, I did bet Quentin and Garrett Wilson earlier in the day. And that's kind of what I got here. So
I like the Quentin prices are just crazy to me. So I think you can definitely go
bet
with the
those.
best.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. You can take shots with him, and yeah, that's what I got here. Johnston or Eckler for single entry DK captain. I mean, I would just go the Eckler route. I like Quentin Johnston captain, but it seems like more like a 2v2. Like, what does it get you to go there as opposed to go down at captain for Quentin Johnston? But I'd go Eckler if I got to pick straight up which one for captain. Any other questions here in the chat? Let's see. CJ for 50-1. Okay, Conklin is. Oh man, I like Conklin too a little bit. So I'm with you there. Tony, I don't see anything. We got about 48 seconds. I don't see any more questions here. When is Johnny going to start posting his winners in the bet section?
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many winners in that bet section, the bumps that it'll get lost. There's just so many plays in the damn bets chat, and yeah, I mean, maybe I will though. If you guys keep hounding
everyone wants Johnny winners.
I want Big T winners. That's all I want.
I got my teams in, but the last second, and I didn't get a chance to tinker a few of my things, so a little disappointing. But I at least got the guys I wanted. I just didn't get to run a few more things I like to do. It moved a little slow on me.
The NBA parlays, the same game parlays, I can definitely start to post some of those, like on the non-football nights. I can definitely post like in a single game parlay one for sure. I can definitely start to do that. Those are fun. Those are my favorite things to bet. Is the NBA ones are pretty fun too. So, all right, Tony, it's 8:15. We got it in. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the show. Hopefully it's another big shipper for you. Can we get a little more though than 178? Can we get 250, 500? I mean, come on now. You got to start moving the needle for some people, and I got to move the needle for you. All right,
tonight's your night.
Higher. Nope, you're not doing that. Tonight is your night. Big T's going to ship, or someone watching is going to ship. Hopefully, I get second. But guys, good luck to everyone here. Enjoy NHL tomorrow. I will not be playing, but everyone else, enjoy. Good luck in those streets. And we'll be back
Go watch
Wednesday
Peyton and Eli, baby.
For NBA winners. Until then, for Big T, I'm JSU, and Wiley, who left us and never came. Well, it's unfortunate, but he said Garrett Wilson and Brees are bringing it home. So good luck to everyone, and good luck to Wiley and his volleyball match. Until next time.